Hi everyone. I'd like to speak to you in this video about the long run average total cost curve as opposed to the short run average total cost relationships that the other three videos were about. The main difference between the long run and the short run is this. In the short run, plant capacity is fixed. If the plant has a maximum capacity to produce 100 widgets per week, in the short run, it can't grow past that. In the long run, however, the plant can grow in size so that it can produce 150, 200, 500, 1,000 per week, whatever it is. So that's the main difference. It's not a specific length of time, but it's a time period sufficient to allow the plant to grow. What does the long run average total cost curve look like? Well, we can derive the long run average total cost curve from a series of short-run average total cost curves, like this. Let me draw the graph on which we can plot the long-run average total cost curve. You'll notice that the horizontal axis here is long so that the plant can grow and grow and grow. This horizontal axis, of course, measures the number of widgets produced, the number of units. That Q there stands for quantity. 1 unit, 2 units, 50 units, 100 units, whatever it is. Here, this axis is measured in dollars. $1, $2, $50, whatever. Now, let's show the short-run average total cost curve when the firm is small. It might look like this. Short-run average total cost curve. I'm not going to bother labeling that. That's the average total cost curve. This is going to look like the this is the short-run average total cost curve. It kind of loses itself there in this very large space. But now let's allow the plant to grow. If the plant grows, it's got a larger factory, it's got more machines, it's got more overhead. And so therefore, at low levels of output, the unit cost, average cost, is going to be higher, somewhere like that. But the payoff to growing might be that if enough units are produced, the average cost will fall when it reaches its lowest point. Here, at 1 unit of output, when the factory was small, the cost of that unit might be 100, but when the plant is larger, the cost of that single unit might be 150. That's why the larger plant would want to produce more. Let's let the firm grow even larger. With a larger firm, you're going to have, once again, more overhead. The benefit, however, of growing larger is that if you produce enough units, the unit cost is going to be lower than when the plant was smaller. And there it's going to be lower than when the plant was smaller still. So here we see some of the benefits of mass producing the lower unit costs. If a mass producing firm can't mass produce, the cost of producing just a few units is going to be very high. The benefit comes from mass production, producing a lot. Let's let it grow one more time. Here, once again, we have a very large firm. Lots of overhead, lots of equipment, lots of capital, very large factory. The cost of producing 1 unit is very, very high. Imagine what the unit cost of an automobile would be in a General Motors manufacturing plant if the firm produced only 1 car per year. Probably have to pay several $1,000,000 for that car. But the benefit of having such a large plant is that the unit costs go down. So we can see as the firm grows, the minimum point on its average total cost curve goes lower and lower and lower. So let's kind of connect the dots and see what's happening to the unit costs in the long run, the unit costs as the factory grows. Once again, sorry to waste your time by having to redraw this graph here. There's quantity. There's the dollar. It might look something like this if we were to connect those dots. It might fall, 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 fall. It might flatten out for a while. Then at some point it's likely that it may actually rise. Notice that as the firm grows larger, the long-run average total cost curve is falling. We might say that here the firm is becoming an economy of scale as it grows larger, larger, larger. We can define an economy of scale as having the firm size necessary to produce most efficiently, having the firm size necessary to produce at the lowest per unit or average costs. Here, the firm is getting no additional benefits to its growing size. Here, the cost is falling as the firm is growing in size, in scale. Here, the average total cost is not falling as the firm becomes larger, but it's not rising either. We could see that it would behoove a firm to grow and grow and grow and grow till it got somewhere in this range. But it would not want to grow beyond here because the nature of the production process is such for this particular firm that if it gets larger, the unit costs will go up. That's because the firm size becomes too large, too difficult to manage, it becomes unwieldy, becomes inefficient. You will find that in most industries, all of the firms within an industry tend to be of the same size. In an automobile manufacturing industry, for example, all the firms tend to be very, very large, employ hundreds of people, have millions and millions of dollars worth of capital equipment. However, in a car repair industry, for example, the individual firms tend to be small. You never see an automobile repair factory with employees with more than, say, 8 or 10 employees. So they all tend to grow until the long-run average total cost curve stops falling. And they all tend, in a particular industry, tend to settle out in this one area, right here. Here, we are seeing increasing returns to scale. That is, the firm is becoming more productive, and as a result, unit costs are falling. The term scale here is referring to plant size. Here, we see constant returns to scale, and because there are no additional returns to growing plant size, the unit costs no longer fall. Here, we're seeing decreasing returns to scale. Additional increases in plant size is not producing better returns. As a matter of fact, it's making the firm less productive. And you can see that because it's becoming less productive, the long-run average total cost curve is rising. So firms will continue to grow until they get in this area, but they won't grow past that point right there. And that's why all the firms within a particular industry tend to be of about the same size.